There it is. It's only a 9.6, so a total of 19.50 for Maxi Ganov. So she is vulnerable right now as Ma Yun Hung of China gets set to mount the uneven bar. She's normally very good in this event.
Oh, very good. Won the World Championship in Fort Worth in this event, in fact. Now watch her precision. Here comes a release move. Back straddle over the top of the bar. Kip now back into a handstand. Hip circle back to another handstand. Full pirouette. A little bit loose on the top. Could cost her a part of a 10. She was the premier performer on the uneven bars in Fort Worth. Has not quite hit that form since then. Exciting to watch. Now watch this dismount. Hip circle hecked with a full twist. A little bit low in the landing out.
She was tied for 5th after the first rotation. She scored a 9.75 on the ball, and with this routine, she'll be moving up.
And in her dismount, she used a strong upper body throw to take her off the bar, give her time to do that full twist and the landing. It's an extremely difficult dismount.
And a 9.9 is her score. Now we'll be taking a look at Natalia Yurchenko of the Soviet Union, tied for 3rd after the first rotation. We talked about the controversy. Some people feel she shouldn't be here. Gordon talked with Jackie Fye of the FIG earlier.
Well, Jackie, I think it's only fitting that we hear the United States Gymnastics Federation's side to this controversy.
Well, Gordy, as you know, the medal winners and the best gymnasts from the previous World Championships in 1981 in Moscow are invited to this competition. There were 4 countries that had injuries. The United States, China, Czechoslovakia, and the German Democratic Republic. We petitioned Diane Durham into this competition so that we could come with 3 gymnasts. This petition was denied since she wasn't a participant in '81. We accepted this, and when we arrived here, we found that gymnasts from the Soviet Union had been petitioned into this competition, and she had not competed in the '81 World Championships. So the United States registered an official protest, and the results or the explanation was that Yurchenko was a reserve in the 1979 World Championships in Fort Worth, Texas, and that this qualified her to be in this competition. So we don't have the records to verify this at this point, and it's a question whereas a reserve was really a participant, and we also question as to how many years you can go back from Olympic Games to World Championships. And I think if we can go back 2 years, we can go back 4 years or 6 years, and possibly I could have suited up tonight.
Very well put by a lady who was a member of the 1956 United States Olympic team. There is the president of the International Gymnastics Federation. His name is Yuri Titov. He's from the Soviet Union. He declined to comment in regard to the controversy that is brewing here. But now we'll take a look at Natalia Yurchenko as she gets set for her routine on the balance beam.
Now, Al, a nice simple mount, but watch the elegance with which this young lady moves. She has a grace about her that is something that no coach in the world can develop. It's one of those inborn gifts, and it is a gift, and boy, is she dynamite. Back handspring into a layout back was just right on the money. Look at the beautiful flexibility. Now she has a slight hop on her foot. Her foot got stuck a little bit on the beam. That would not be a deduction. But she moves so smoothly. It's like silk on the beam. Now watch this. A sideways back handspring into a hip circle around that big balance beam. And done very nicely.
Very impressive move. You don't see that very often.
No, for a real good reason.
Very difficult. She's a young lady who has a little bit of experience in our country, having competed in the USGF Invitational earlier this year.
Now this extraordinarily poised young lady getting set up for her double back off. Takes it around. Oh, that's a sensational landing.
And little doubt that her score will be higher than the 9.6 that was rung up by Maxi Ganov. So there is perhaps the new leader. We'll wait. Natalia Yurchenko of the Soviet Union.
Now let's watch again on this slow motion. Doing a back handspring sideways on the beam. Leaves her hips away from the beam, which allows her to rotate around that huge piece of wood. What a nice move.
And her mark is a 9.90, so now a composite total of 19.70, temporarily moving Yurchenko into the lead. A great current Soviet gymnast, and as far as former Russian gymnasts are concerned, maybe the best of all right there. Ludmila Tereshcheva competed in 3 different Olympic Games and won 9 medals in all.
This start, it's really good. It's a round off on the floor onto the takeoff board, then a back with a half twist onto the low bar. There it is, back half onto the bar. Now she'll get up into a handstand. That's a hecht with a half turn. And Michelle Goodwin working pretty well. Hop back to the high bar. Now she'll begin getting set up momentarily for a dismount. Should come somewhere along in here. There it is, a straddle and a Comaneci over the low bar to a very nice landing.
Michelle was in 9th place after the first rotation. She started on the ball today, and her score there was a 9.5. It should be considerably higher here after a good routine on the uneven bars for Michelle Goodwin of the United States.
Now another look at that mount. Back handspring on the floor. She hits the board with her feet, does a back somersault with a half twist now. Lands just right on the low bar, and then is dynamite from that point on.
Her score, a 9.80. Here's Olga Bicharova now on the uneven bars. Bicharova, who scored a 9.85 on the vault, would need a 9.90 to take the overall lead. So here she goes, her mount coming up.
Little Olga should kip on the low bar, get up to the high bar with a nice hop, kip on the high bar, full pirouette to a giant swing. Giant swing again into a reverse hecht. Series of kips getting her back and forth from bar to bar. There's a handstand shoot. And here comes her dismount. Double flyaway. Hoo-hoo! Look out.
Now, she was hurt. She missed the Soviet National Championships because of an injury. And showing no ill effects whatsoever. Crowd saluting her, and she responds in kind. And again, she'll need a 9.90 here to move into first place after the second rotation.
Now let's watch Olga cowboy her dismount. Now cowboy means spreading your knees very wide and pulling them up very far past your ears so that you can spin faster. Not considered good form, but look at the landing it produces.
Her score, a 9.8, as you look now at Natalia Ilyenko of the Soviet Union, who scored a 9.75 on the uneven bars. She would need a perfect mark, a 10, to move into first place.
What a nice move there, a straddle into an immediate gainer.
Ilyenko is 16 years old, 5 feet even, 84 pounds. She won the floor exercise at the 1981 World Championships.
Back handspring into a slight bobble on her back somersault. Now, Ilyenko is what I consider to be the finest dancer on the entire Soviet national team. Really moves well. However, her track record isn't that strong when you consider all-around scores in international competition. But a fine gymnast, and I think a very natural dancer.
She does obviously well on the floor exercise, fairly well on the balance beam, but has her problems from time to time with the bars and on the vault.
Should have a pirouette into a front walkover coming up about now. Front walkover is difficult. There's no way to see the beam on the landing. Oh, slight bobble, but really a nice move. Now she'll get set up. She really delays her handstand, makes it just right, then takes 2 back handsprings into a double back somersault dismount. And on those, right on the money. A little bit low on the landing, Al, but a fine performance.
And that should move her very, very close to first place as the judges evaluate that performance by Ilyenko. There's the mark. It's a 9.9. Good enough to move her into a 3-way tie for second with Yurchenko the leader right now. More gymnastics from Yugoslavia later.